Money day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday to all. We are bringing you another market outlook for the week ahead. Okay, we're middle of March now. Okay, time is flying for sure. So, for those that are getting busy on the charts, salute to you. We have seen a few great setups play out over the last month, if I do say so myself, for sure. Before we get into it, of course, if you are a beginner, please head over to our website at litcapital.co.uk to get started or inquire about learning how to trade these concepts that we trade. Okay, definitely head over to our website. We definitely have a lot of things on offer at good value for money, of course. We also offer a Discord service for those that are interested in that and joining a community and just being around traders on the same journey as you. Head over to our website for that and inquire about that as well. It's a subscription of only £25 a month. Okay, really, really cheap for what there is inside of the Discord. So before we get into it, of course, we're going to go and check out the economic calendar. Fine. We can see going into Monday, of course. So what we have to start the week, nothing crazy. Okay, one thing I will add that happened on Friday. For those that don't know, there was the Silicon Valley Bank, which is located out in LA, I believe, which actually crashed. Okay, now the reason they crashed, we're actually gonna get into it. If you follow us on TikTok, head over to our TikTok. We're gonna break that down as the reasons why. But opening when the market opens, we could see a bad reaction to that. Okay, so just bear that in mind for those that as we approach the Sunday evening, going into opening bell and stuff like that, we could see a major reaction off of that. So if nothing happens news wise and you realize that you looked at Monday and you don't see anything that could have potentially spiked the charts or something along those lines, just realize that and go and potentially Google what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank. So it's very big news. But nothing really stands out on the Monday, as we can see. There's a lot of sentiment and stuff like that. You got consumer confidence for the Aussie. Going into Tuesday, of course, we've got the unemployment rate for the GBP. Employment change. So employment data is big, of course, seeing how the economy is doing in that sense. We've got CPI and inflation data for the US on Tuesday. So massive Tuesday, okay, to start the week early. Definitely interested in that as we are seeing inflation. I can't remember, it's countless months now. Inflation has been top of the economic sentiment in terms of are we curving it or not. So let's see what happens with that. Very interested in Tuesday. You got data for the pound, the data for the US. Okay. Now Wednesday we got unemployment rate for China. We also have some retail sales as well in the middle of the night. We have retail sales for the US as well with some PPI. So interested in that on the Wednesday. Going into Thursday, unemployment change and employment data for the Aussie, of course. We also have building permits, jobless claims for US. We have the interest rate decision for the European Central Bank. So definitely a great Wednesday it's looking like for sure. Then if we go into, Thursday, excuse me, Thursday. And then if we go into Friday, we have CPI data and inflation data for the euro, okay? So definitely some great fundamentals that we can utilize and play off of for this week ahead. Okay, news-wise, there's definitely some things that stand out that we can take advantage of. So if we start with what I'm going to do is start with the dollar, of course. If we go to what the dollar is doing, what we've kind of seen is these lows spiked, where we've had these lows spiked. I'm looking to see if we could potentially bounce up off of that and potentially push into this area. Now, why I believe we can do that, on that Friday, we did rebound. Now, whether or not we want to take out more lows is yet to be seen, of course, and maybe fill the imbalance in, things like that. But I'm looking at this area personally. I do think we have reasons to head up towards it. So I actually am still temporarily bullish on the dollar. But again, with what's happened with the Silicon Valley Bank, I won't be surprised if something, happens within the markets due to that. So let's see how it pans out. But for me, I do think the dollar, after that reaction and what we can see after taking out those equal lows, we've pushed up to kind of begin or end, should I say, the Friday. So what we have here, we have some smaller time frame areas where we could rebound lower from as well. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see how the market opens. But I would like to potentially see if we can climb above these highs here, where we took out this high and we reacted down to the downside. We took out the lows of that. I would like to see if we can push up higher into that area. So if we go to GBPUSD, if you bear in mind what we have with the employment data on the Tuesday, this is the daily picture I have. Now we took out this low here. This is the actual swing on the daily. So we reacted off a 62% area. And we have a smaller time frame area where we've taken out highs and stuff and played into a smaller time frame imbalance. Now, I believe we could potentially keep heading down lower off the back of that. Whether or not we want to retest higher is possible. So the first area I'd be looking at is this area here to see if we play into it. Now, whether it happens in the nighttime, probably won't take a trade. Okay, but if it's still hovering around in the morning time, going into that Monday London session, then great. But that's kind of what I've got for it in terms of immediate areas. If we don't, we could potentially retest higher. Got an imbalance here as well, but this is the first area of interest for me personally. So yeah, I think if the dollar gains strength and continues on the route I think it should go on, then that means more downside for the pound against the dollar. Okay, where we could take this if we're looking at the daily time frame, I don't see no reason why we don't get below 1.18. I'm actually looking at 1.17 for reasons to buy, and 1.17 and lower for reasons to buy. But that's kind of how the picture is looking for me on those pairs. Now, going into the indices, what I kind of want to show you guys is the heavy sliding that we have been doing on the indices. Okay, now what we could expect from this, whether or not we get a retest of these areas is one thing, but what we have to kind of look at and suggest is we are still bearish on this for the time being. I believe looking at the S&P and stuff like that, there are, reasons to potentially bounce from. We've got this candle here. We could potentially bounce up off of that. So very aware of that, but I am expecting if we do bounce up to potentially get into this area and then continue to short lower. Now, the same could be said for the NASDAQ, and the same could be said for US 30. They're all showing similar pictures in that regard. Again, where we had, this was the swing before we closed out. So this is what I was kind of looking at, kind of bounced off to 50% and then we continue lower. But I think, we, after taking out these lows, we could potentially bounce back up and then continue to short. Now, all of the pictures look the same, whether you like to trade NASDAQ, whether you like to trade US 30, they are all looking the same. Now, what I would say about US 30 is kind of the cleaner price action last week, for sure. It definitely was the cleaner price action last week. I don't know why that area is there. I mean, why this fib is here on that time frame, excuse me. Now, what I'm looking at for this is a sweep of these lows. And then we could potentially bounce up again after playing into this 4-hour area. If I show you guys in and around this imbalance, reason to sweep the lows, play into the imbalance and bounce off that. Now, if that happens before we get the retracement, then great. Obviously, if we get retracement first and that area is intact, you could potentially use it as a take profit. But that's kind of what I've got for the indices and how it's kind of lining up for me based off of what I think the dollar is doing. So yeah, one more setup for you guys, which is on oil. Again, I think we could potentially look at shorting this. Now, the area I'm interested in shorting at the moment is off. There's two areas, okay? Now, if this area gets invalidated and we head higher, then fair dues. But what I'm kind of looking at is this candle here where we slid down. We've retested it. We haven't really showed any significance in the closing price to kind of suggest that, yeah, we're going to move. Now, it could retest again. It could take out the high and still come into this area and be valid. Now, if that area is invalidated, then we have to look at the higher time frame areas in terms of what we have resting above. Now, I don't want to rule out this area yet, just because it's still valid to short from on that time frame. We do have an imbalance on a bigger time frame above. Now, whether or not it wants to do that, like I said, we have to just play it. We have to play it area by area. So that's kind of what I've got for my setups, what I'm going to be looking at going into the Monday. Again, just be aware of what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank and look out for us on TikTok regarding the breakdown of what the significance of that could be, because it is very, very significant, right? For those that don't know about that particular bank and why, you know, if they need a bailout, why that's not going to be good for the overall economy, why it's not going to be good for inflation and all of those things. Because if you have to bail out a bank, that means you got to give them money. And if you inject more, a bank needs a lot of money. So if the bank needs a lot of money, you've got to inject more money into a system where inflation is already high. That doesn't spell good news, does it? So yeah, guys, I'm going to leave you with that, excuse me. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed the breakdown on what we can kind of look forward to potentially going into next week. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you have any questions that you'd like answered, okay? Now, lastly, of course, remember to check out our website. If you do want to get involved in trading, go over to our website, see how you can learn and break down the markets like I have just presented to you. So that's all for me, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. I hope it's, you know, it's structured and detailed. I hope you're going back over trades. I hope you've journaled what happened last week. If you did, if you was active in it, if you wasn't active in it, do some tape reading even, you know, see where you end up with, see what lessons you get. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Please remember, every day is money day. Peace.